So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be getting started with the e-collar here. So like we talked about last time, basically the way everything kind of progresses is session one, we're introducing the prong collar, we're developing the muscle memory of some of these positions and stuff, but there's no real expectation that like real world this is going to be extremely reliable. We just want to make sure we could physically get them into these positions if we need to, obviously. From there we start layering the e-collar in, and this is really where we start to see everything come together a little bit, because this tool is going to be much more dynamic, where we can communicate a little bit more clearly and with a little bit more motivation to him. So I'm going to go ahead and get him fitted up with this, and then we'll start jumping into stuff. So first step here is we need to figure out what his general working level is going to be on the e-collar. So this is basically like first level we could start to tell that he's feeling, but isn't like crazy averse by or anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at 0, go up, give a tap, go up, give a tap until I see some sort of sign that he's feeling that pressure. From there, that'll kind of give us a range of where we want to start. Right there, see a little twitch on the side of the neck. So that was a 17 out of 100, so pretty low. So knowing that, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start in like the 9 or 10 range. So basically the idea here is we're gonna do everything we did last time, but instead of just using the leash, we're gonna be pairing this pressure with that. So I'll be walking him around. Anytime he gets out of position, I'm gonna apply pressure on the e-collar, apply pressure on the leash, and release both at the same time. So he starts to understand this means the same thing as this. So start walking around here and we'll get cruising with it. So pressure, release. Pressure, release. Pressure, release. And a lot of times, like we did last time, I start off, release, with a little bit looser of an expectation than we had last time. So instead of starting right away with the healing, I'm kind of starting with just kind of him staying within the realms of the leash. Now, as he's distracted, you're going to see we're going to be playing around with the levels here. And the goal is use as little pressure as we can, but as much as we need to, just like we were doing last time with the prong, obviously. But as we're working with this and we need to use slightly more pressure, because it's such a new sensation, you may see a little bit of vocalization like that and stuff. Keep in mind, that's not so much it's hurting him thing as much as it is a startle. You see we're starting to get that focus on us now, which is what we want. So we're kind of shifting from, like last time our goal was physically just being able to get him into the position. That was kind of the only expectation with it. This time my expectation is going to be much more him truly understanding how to put himself into the position, right? So instead of me having to have this leash short and constantly be like micromanaging him, I want to know that when it's loose, he still understands where it is that he needs to be and starts just holding that really steadily on his own. It might take 5 minutes or so to kind of get him nice and focused in. But you see he's starting to kind of get the hang of it here, where I'm not needing to use anywhere near as much pressure to get him to stay there. Because if he's still learning it and still figuring it out, and we're increasing the distractions, that starts making it very, very challenging very quickly for them. Makes it kind of unrealistic for them to be able to maintain it super well too. And again, in addition to that, keep in mind the prong collar in itself is not intended to be this tool that we're proofing behaviors with, you know? Like if we look at engagement, like what he's giving me where his attention is on me and he's staying focused and stuff like that, we were just talking about this before you got here. Engagement comes from one of two things. Either the dog really wanting what you have for them or really wanting to avoid a consequence for doing something else, right? And in his case, because we don't have the food drive or anything like that, he's avoiding the consequence. That's the reason why he's doing it ultimately, right? But that will still achieve the same engagement, which once he starts doing it successfully and starts becoming more confident in that position, that's where you kind of see it really start to come together. Then you can kind of add the rewards and stuff back in, since his food drive is more moderate with things, and start to then create like more of a positive association with doing some of these things. But in, you know, a couple minutes, he's starting to do pretty good with this right now. Not really needing to do a whole lot with the e-collar because he's staying fairly focused on me. One thing, depending on how much you care about it, I'm a big proponent of like developing dogs' food drive because I think it helps the training process so much if we can get it out of them. I'll tell you, 4 cups for a dog his size is a lot. You know, my Malinois, my Shepherd, when I had them, like ate about 4 cups a day, and they were at least double his size. And you know, not that he's big by any means, but like if he lost a pound or 2, it wouldn't really be the end of the world. If you wanted to start trying to develop his food drive a little bit, my recommendation would be probably switch to 3 cups a day and just do a cup, a cup, a cup. And I think in like a week or so, you'll notice a big increase in that food drive. Yeah, that recommends for size like 3 or 4 cups. Not just, you know, think the generous one. Sure. 4 cups. The one thing I find myself constantly telling people is keep in mind that the bag of food is trying to sell dog food. So they're typically going to say the high end of the spectrum, and in addition to that, they don't factor in like activity level of the dog, breed of the dog, age of the dog, stuff like that are going to have serious, you know, contributing factors to how much they ultimately need to eat, you know. So I've always, like with my dogs, I go off of the dog, you know. How motivated for the food do they seem? Are they gaining weight? Are they dropping weight? Et cetera, et cetera. He's doing great right now. So right now, once we get him to this stage where like I'm not needing to do anything with the e-collar, my #1 goal is let the dog be successful, right? So we're just gonna keep on doing this, and I'm just gonna let him be successful with staying with me right now. And my goal is how long can I go without needing to give any sort of corrections and keeping that engagement and attention on me. Because the more he does it successfully, that will again build his confidence in the thing we're doing, which will de-stress him a little bit, which will get him to a place where hopefully he starts taking some food then from us. Good job, buddy. And again, as distractions come up, level starts to increase with that. So I'm just going up a little bit to match that level of arousal. Good. Come. So like I said, we'll get back to enforcing the particular side, but initially, before we're gonna implement this tool for that position, I wanna just make sure that he understands it with attention, you know? And it's kind of accomplishing the same thing. I mean, we just have a tiny bit of fine tuning to do once we go back to enforcing that heel, but this is kind of like the most basic thing that we could teach him to do with it. It looks fantastic, it really looks good though.
Yeah, it's been really impressive.
We do like one more kind of lap around the room here. If he's still doing well with it, we're gonna start adding some stops in with rewards. And his eyes are glued on you. All right, why don't you go ahead and come to a stop? And obviously without using that leash, I want to see him just stabilize next to you. I don't care about a sit or anything. I just care that he stops with you. Then you can tell him good, then give a reward. And then what you're going to do is right before you start walking again, we're going to start pairing that come command in. So you'll say come, then move. Perfect. Do another lap or so around, and then you'll add another stop in. Basically, we just want to make sure that we've got his attention before we go to add the stop. Perfect. So like, I will take my snack, please. Cool. All right, I'm gonna take him back from you.
Yeah, I only need to use it like twice, 2 or 3 times.
That's the goal. All right, so what we're gonna do last here is we're gonna take him outside. We'll just do a couple minutes of it out there just to see how he does with the additional distractions. If it doesn't go well, I'm not worried about it. Like I said, that's gonna be kind of next week's goal, but if we can get him at least a little bit better with it, so you can work on this outdoors with him, that would be nice. So we'll do just a couple minutes out there and then we'll bring him back in because we gotta go over the e-collar and everything with you.
So when you're increasing it, are you increasing it with that dial with like your thumb in the same hand?
Yeah, so, and you know, you could, okay, if you start noticing like, oh, I need to increase the level, it's way too low, just pause, look at it, turn it up, you know? But yeah, at this point, no. At this point, because like I've used this thing for so long, it's like second nature. Like I'll use like my middle finger to hit the button and then my index and stuff to use this, right? And I tend to, and this is kind of a little bit more advanced, you'll get this as you progress with it, but I try to avoid actually looking at what number I'm at when I adjust it, because I want to be in tune with how he's responding and not like subconsciously getting caught up on a number, right? Because if you look at this, it's like I have to get it 5, oops, I went up 6, right? You can get real in your head about that kind of stuff sometimes, where I just want to adjust to him.
It would be better to like increase it without looking, and then once he responds, then see what it took.
Exactly. And then you take mental notes of like, oh, this type of distraction, it was this type of distraction, it was this, et cetera, et cetera. So if you stay right here, I'm just going to stay in this immediate area. Like I said, same concept. We're just working against distractions right now. And I'm also kind of asking myself every time I use it, like, did he care too much, too little, just right? And like almost every time I hit the button, I'm kind of making a little adjustment up or down. Like right there, a little high, so I just went down a little bit. Next one might be a little low, and I'll go up a little bit, you know? And that'll allow you to always be kind of fluid and in tune with your dog. And we're at about 32 right now, so a little bit higher than we were inside, obviously. And I just want to see those quick turns with me when I change direction. And sometimes, kind of like when we started inside, even though it seems high right now, he's really escalated, so it's still kind of appropriate. And as he starts actually altering his behavior and doing well with it, then we'll start backing it off. So you also have to make a read off that, you know? Not only how is he physically responding to it, but is he altering his behavior as you're doing it? It's a difference between, you know, a perception level and a motivation level. You know, he may physically seem like he's feeling it, but is he motivated enough by it to change his behavior? Great. Good. Come. What's up, buddy? You're chilling out quite a bit, dude. You're doing pretty good. All right, so obviously healing exercises with your e-collar, it's your biggest homework assignment right now. You don't have to really worry about doing a ton of sessions of the stuff we did last time. Just use it in day-to-day stuff, like when you're going through your doorways and stuff. And then, again, my recommendation would be cut that food back by a cup, do 3 cups total a day. I would really, especially since he was fairly food motivated, if we can get that food drive up just a little bit more, that's gonna really help us a lot through the training. So that would be my recommendation for you with that.
All right.
So.
And then like if we're doing the stuff we were doing here today, still giving him treats when we stop and he stops.
Yeah, so the expectation is get it under control first. Like, don't be giving rewards if he's all tuned out all over the place, right? But once he starts doing well with it, yeah, just periodically add your stop, good, reward. Then tell him to come, then add your stop, good, reward.
Okay.
So again, like I said, once we got past the hurdle, our job is to keep him as successful as possible and let him do it correctly to build his confidence in that position. So, looks great. Like I said, I'm pleased that he's not jumping into my face anymore. That's great.
Yeah, I used to do that for new people all the time.
Really looks awesome.
Telling